Hi everyone. When it comes to DAX, the question that I get asked most often is not so much on the lines of what is DAX, but more in terms of why do we need to work on it. Now we will come to that. In fact, this entire course has been created to show you the power of using data analysis expressions. But let's first understand the history of why was DAX created in the first place. And let us look at the different products that all work on data analysis expressions. The DAX language has a history of over 10 years, and it was created specifically for handling data models. It is very similar to Excel in the sense that it uses a combination of formulas and expressions. Even though DAX is meant to be used with Power BI, and that is what a lot of us have got familiarized with when we started working on Power BI as a data analyst, we realized that we would be able to use DAX. Power BI is not the only Microsoft product that can handle DAX. DAX also works on Microsoft Analysis Services, and it also works on Microsoft Power Pivot, which is an add-in for Excel. All these different products use the same internal engine called the tabular engine. Even though describing the tabular engine is a little beyond the scope of this particular course, I would definitely encourage you to spend some time and read a little bit about it. First things first, DAX is not a programming language. It is primarily a formula language, and it is also considered as a query language, which means that DAX is very similar to Excel in a lot of different ways. But it is very important to understand that it is not a programming language. DAX is incidentally an evolution of multi-dimensional expressions, which is also called MDX, which is a query language for online analytical processing, OLAP. Now, if all of this seems Greek to you, do not worry. Concepts like MDX and OLAP are typically used by IT professionals. So if you're working as a data analyst, then you need not bother with all these terminologies. That said, if you are interested and if you do want to spend 5-10 minutes going online and reading about it, it wouldn't hurt. Where will we be using DAX in this particular course? So we will be working on Excel Power Pivot and also on Power BI. There are two links that I want you to check. One is the official Microsoft documentation and the other is an unofficial documentation. The official documentation looks like this. It gives you a background of DAX. It has certain training videos that introduces DAX to you. And there is also a glossary and a list of all the operators and functions available. The second link is an unofficial documentation called dax.guide. Dax.guide has been created by two people, Alberto Ferrari and Marco Russo, who also run a website called SQLBI. This is one of the leading websites for learning Power Query and DAX. Alberto Ferrari and Marco Russo are considered to be the gods of DAX. The dax.guide website is basically a glossary that gives you a list of all the different functions available within DAX with a little bit of explanation and an example as well. For example, if you want to see what the calculate function is and what it does, you can simply click on it. And you can see here that we can see the different arguments. We can also see an explanation and an example. Good. So we know that DAX works on different Microsoft products. We are going to work on a combination of Excel Power Pivot and Microsoft Power BI. And in the next lecture, I'm going to introduce the interface to you, and we will see how DAX looks, and we will also see how to enable Excel Power Pivot add-in And of course, in Power BI, DAX is already inbuilt, so you don't have to enable something. But the process is a little different between Excel and Power BI, so we will become familiar with that. See you for the next lecture.